Okay, welcome to our second project that we're going to be doing with photopea. Today we're going to be working in the brush tool, and you'll see that uh, the tools here on photopea look a lot like um, Photoshop, and they can do a lot of the same things. And in photopea, they have basically two types of brushes. You have your circular brush, and then you have an image brush. And so we're going to be working within the circular brush today on this tutorial. And then in our next tutorial, we'll come back and work with the image brushes. So the first thing we'll do is start a new document. So we'll go File, New. And if you remember from the last time, you have all these options of templates that you can pick. However, we're going to stay within this area right here. We're going to call this brushes. Okay, and we're going to leave all the settings, leave the background white, and we'll hit create. And that should give us kind of a paper looking document here. So we'll search for the brush tool, and I already have mine up, so it's a little bit different. It'll be the brush looking right here. We have brush tool, pencil tool, and color replacement. And we're going to go ahead and select the brush tool. And once we do that, you'll see that it shows us some menu options up top here. And in this, we're going to go to the second drop down, and this is where we pick our size, the hardness, and what type of brush we're going to use. And these are just basic brushes. You can load brushes of your own as well. However, we don't have that done quite yet, and we don't have a subscription, so we're just going to have to go with this. So I'm going to pick number 24, which is a hard mechanical. I'm going to adjust my size just a little bit so you can see it, and you'll see I have my foreground color red and my background color black, and it's going to pick up the foreground color. So I'm just going to brush just a little bit to get a feel for it. My mouse is kind of running really slow today, so we hope that it'll work with me. All right, now we want to change out of this basic brush, and we're looking for this palette here that stands for brush, BRU. If you don't see it, you may have to go to Window and click it and turn it on. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay, and when I do that, it gives me some options here. It gives me the tip shape. Okay, and the tip shape is simply adjusting this angle here. You can say, hey, I want to adjust the angle a little bit, and here's the preview down here. You don't see just too much changing on the angle. Obviously, the size is pretty self-explanatory. Take that back down. The roundness is kind of like squeezing the shape into round. The hardness, okay, is self-explanatory. Now the spacing is interesting because the spacing, if it is 25% or less, it's going to stay in a kind of a continuous line. Once you take it more than 25%, you're going to see that the brush is going to break up into small little shapes. So let's take it just so you can see that. See how that's working? Okay, so now if I was brushing, you see how that would change that. Okay, now, besides my spacing, okay, that was in my tip shape. Now I'm going to go to the tip dynamics by clicking on that and then selecting it. Okay, now we've got some terms here. With this, we can adjust the jitter, the size jitter, and let me show you what that's going to look like. Do you see how it's a little random now? Okay. You have a minimal diameter. You could change the angle of your jitter, the roundness, and then you have a minimal roundness. Now, when you look at this compared to your original brush, it really, you really can change things. Now we're going to change things even more. We're going to go to the scatter, and with the scatter, we can move each shape to random places. So an example of this would be if we had a brush shaped like a leaf, we could make some falling leaves that effect if we were in this scatter brush. So let's look and see what the jitter does here. So position jitter, see how they're changing positions? And I want you, by the way, to try this all with me. And this will be your actual project that you'll be turning in. And then you can adjust the count to have more or less. And then on your count jitter, you can see here as we paint how that has dramatically changed the look of this original brush. Now, the last thing before we close out and we get our bigger part will be the color dynamics. In the color dynamics, okay, you can mix your foreground and background together. Shut that here. You can see a little bit more here. See how it's mixing up the black and red? Okay, I can change colors, the hues. It's kind of cool, isn't it? The saturation is how much color am I gonna put in there. Get all the way back here and then see the difference between the two. And then you have your brightness. You can adjust to, what does that look like there? Okay, so this is simply going to be what you're going to turn this in as. So you'll go to File, Export As, a JPEG, and your quality, it doesn't matter just too much, but you're going to be putting this up. You'll be putting this up on the on a Padlet, and it's just simply going to be called Brush. And that's it for the first tutorial on photopea and brushes.